My name is Karan Khosla. I live in New Delhi, India, as we just heard. I am the founder and the chief executive officer of Earth Safe Enterprises, which is located in India. This is a picture of a child. Okay, this is the picture of a child that will be born into tomorrow's world. It is our job to make sure that whether this child is born into the north or into the south, that he or she has the same access to rights, to empowerment, to dignity as every other child. And I think if we start thinking about who we have to make the change for, then I think we're going to make better decisions. I have a big car, and I consume probably as much as anybody in Switzerland does, right? Um, but then I look outside my house and I have someone who has a few pots and pans, who's the same age, and lives in pretty awful conditions. He doesn't have the access to water. He doesn't have a good job. He doesn't, but he gets by. He still lives every day, hoping for something better in the next. I would think that it's important for me to help him get a better standard of living, which means that if I'm going to wash my car with the water he could have had to drink, then maybe I should think a little bit more about my choices. So I'm not asking, I shouldn't really be expecting him to do much because and it's not a question of him not making an effort. He does make an effort. He works hard for what little money he can earn, but he doesn't have opportunities. There are no opportunities. So that's where it's my responsibility, as it is for the North and the South. It's also my responsibility to make sure that I can help him out of this issue. Because I don't want his kids to grow up looking at my kids and the things that we have, and they resent it. That's a security issue. That's where things like terrorism come out of. Resources like oil and other natural resources have reached their peak. So we're not going to be able to get more out of Mother Nature than we possibly can. And I think that that's going to have grave concerns in terms of security. You know, people, I mean, what happens if you were locked in a room and you had one glass of water amongst 10 people? What does that mean? I think that we know what's going to happen. People will behave in a way that they have to survive. My idea is that we're creating a platform where everybody can come, put in their inputs, and see what happens. And then let us come to the solution together. And it can only be done if we start thinking about the system as a whole. What are the things that we're losing out on? What are the things that we're gaining on? It's not simply private company versus public sector. It's a much deeper issue. We do have to improve the condition of electricity, and we have to look at things like climate change. But these are not dealing with the root problem. The root problem is that there are too many people who are being born outside the system. The system of healthcare, of markets, you know, they're not able to participate in market systems. They're not able to participate in what we take for granted. And as a result, we blame them for being a problem. So when the North says that countries like India and China haven't been signing on to the CO2, to the Kyoto Protocol and all, I think and we get blamed for it. I don't think it's fair. You see, what we're saying is that we have to start looking at per capita justice. If we talk about per capita rights and democracy, we have to say that everybody also who is living below a certain quality of life should be able to reach better standards of living. It's in our best interest that we have a little more ownership in these problems. Instead of looking at blaming this person, blaming that person, it's no good. India blames China, China blames the United States blames India. What are we? You know, people are dying. So it's not productive. You know, if you create a job for a woman who earns less than $1,000 a year, um, she would have probably had the desire to have 6 kids. This is in a very rural part of India. But you give her meaningful employment and you teach her how to earn a living, she will automatically understand um, the cost of having another child. It is inbuilt. It's something that she learns as she earns money, as she's empowered. So the idea is to give people the choices and the opportunities to make the right choices. We should be able to trust people to do the right thing. I mean, we have to industrialize, but we have to industrialize the right way. It's something that India has to focus on. I mean, it's not just about economic growth, as I was talking about. We have to look at long-term stability in our economy, not just short. We have systems which reward short-term growth, and how much can we make this quarter, how much can we make this year, and what is the GDP growth going to be like? Is it, it's less, it's not 12%, it's 11. Those are things which are not going to help us, because that forces us to do things in a quick way. I'm young. I've started to enter these discussions and whatnot, and I just think that there's things we can do. There's no one solution for any of these problems. There are many solutions, and I think we need to get people to work at everything too. There are certain core focuses, technologies, for example, and population growth that we have to deal with, but everybody has to do their part. So why don't we just do it?